I know who the fuck you is. You know what I mean? That's like I look at Dane, I know who the fuck he is. My cousin, who looked like Dane, is the one who flipped me. If you want to be rich, listen to Calloway. Off of a song called I Want to Be Rich by a group called Calloway.
Calloway, I'm going to write that down.
Now look, when I go back, I'm thinking about what my cousin was saying, and I see this dude, Dane Calloway, and my cousin had a Great Dane named Man. So now Man, his favorite Great Dane, is a Calloway in my mind, making the connections. And so when he brought the song in, the group Calloway, and played it, I Want to Be Rich, and he said, I want you to keep listening to this song over and over. And I've been listening to Dane Calloway about 2 years. You know what I mean? So when I told motherfuckers he was one of the chiefs on the land, the motherfucker kept telling me, Dane said he ain't black, he ain't no more. Cause he ain't, motherfucker, he from the land.
Exactly.
He ain't black because he's not a crayon. And he
ain't no more because he ain't from Morocco. Yeah.
Look, now they ain't putting up pictures. He not reading the pictures like I'm reading I'm reading the picture like a tarot card.
Yes.
Now, he don't know what he doing, but he's flipping messages with the pictures he select to give his presentation. In his presentation, he's talking about documents, but I'm reading the pictures that's telling a whole nother story from what the fuck they ain't talking about. You know, so the whole other story told me, hold up, bruh. They was hiding behind them. These the cat's paws. These motherfuckers is the enemies. And if you could take your mind down into the hull of the slave ship, you'll see this shit some bullshit. When I did, okay, so you got this, it's called Soul Retrieval. It's a book called Soul Retrieval. And you could put in the reference list. In doing the soul retrieval, I'm traveling my DNA by calling forth certain energies. I couldn't find a slave ship nowhere. Not even in the people that is tied in my bloodline from that side of the water. Didn't come from slave ships. The ones that we related to, the Zulu and the Hopi, is the same tribe. But when I'm traveling my DNA, the ones I'm seeing coming over here that I'm being shown in mental imagery, they are not coming in bondage, and they're not coming in hostility. Right? And when they getting on this side of the water, we hugging them and kissing them like they long lost relatives. I'm not seeing no slave ships. No slave ships. I can't pull no slave ships up in my DNA. Right? So I don't understand this shit. And then when I go back and I find that in the history books that even they wrote when they asking our ancestors about the ships, they said we didn't see no ships.
Exactly.
So they wrote in, look, they wrote that their cognitive dissonance was so severe that when the ships came, they couldn't even see them. Bullshit. They knew what a ship was because Khan Mansa Musa came on a boat.
Exactly. From part of Africa, he came through South America and came through up through the where the Mayans used to be and all that area. They actually used to take boats to the Americas way before anybody knew about the conquistadors came over. It was us coming over.
Right.
Yeah,
but
watch this.
And so we already knew what boats looked like. And they saying we had no knowledge of ships and boats. Now watch this. On the Pacific, it was an emperor from China that we call Quan Jai Jun. Came over 5,000 years ago on a boat, a big ass boat. They sailed right on over here. And when we met them, we hugged them and kissed them like long lost relatives. Why we not doing that to the Spanish conquistadors, the blackamoors that's coming over here? We ain't hugging them motherfuckers. We fighting like a motherfucker. They looking for Cordoba, the famed city of gold. The great,
exactly.
That's the great capital of Atlantis that flew the fuck away that they told us sunk. Right? And I'm seeing this shit in the DNA. This shit like, whoa, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
You know, so now I got to put it together for y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful stuff. And I know when, like, my mom, she told me a lot of where her people came from through Texas and through, I guess, she says it Blackfoot Indian, but it could also be Blackfeet. So I got to really, you know, figure out which one it is specifically. But on my mom's side, we definitely have the Mexican side that came through the Mayans. And so we connected to the Quetzalcoatl. So that whole with the actual dragon. So when there was the two where the eagle and the dragon were down there, that's when we tried to come up north and separate from the ones that stayed down in the south, which went down into, like, you know, central, like, Belize.
Where you see the petroglyph of the eagle fighting the serpent.
Yes.
If you also keep watching the petroglyph, you'll see that the plume serpent is the one they call Quetzalcoatl. He was neither eagle nor serpent. Right? And then they call him the great dragon that consumed them both. He consumed both the. It's an old story, and it's written in the petroglyph, and they're hard to read for the ones who not tuned in. But Quetzalcoatl is Thoth.
Yes.
And they tried to replace him with Cortez, the conquistador, conqueror. Right? That's who they tried to give the people the impression was Quetzalcoatl.
Exactly.
Right.
And Paul has taken on different forms. He's been around they say he's been around for like 8,000, but I think he's been around for longer than that because he takes different forms each cycle. And so as we move through the different ages, he has to adjust his etherical form to match the vibrational consciousness of the collective of his people, of the people that he's trying to move through. So, you know, I can't really get behind a lot of these narcissists, you know, a lot of these new age people who be saying, oh, well, I'm the guy, all this do me, blah, 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 blah. Like, I may call myself a god sometimes too, but really you have to understand where the divine Akashic records information comes from and where your information comes from to source. And so a lot of people, they get them confused sometimes because they feel like the Akashic records is what we all kind of like hit on, but if you go beyond that and then you hit the source records, then it's like you get it's kind of different. It's hard for me to explain on you know, so let me on the live, but
the source records is got all of eternity in it. The Akashic records is the collection of human experiences.
There you go.
And they all are cataloged in the subconscious mind, which is called collective unconscious.
There you go. There you go.
And Akasha is the feminine energy that accesses that part of the mind. So that's why they call it Akasha records. And Akasha is a female. Right? Now, when it's time for karma draws the information from Akasha in order to balance out everything according to what is recorded. That's why everything is recorded. And the book of life is what you call universal consciousness of the great mother Tawaret. Right? And that's why she's sitting in the middle of the zodiac with a meat cleaver, because she'll bust your ass in the head with it if you don't get right.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, man. I thank you and I appreciate you. I just want you to know that I thank and appreciate you, OG. For real.
I appreciate you coming in. Give me a holler. Give people some insight.
I will.
You know.
And let me know. I do software engineering. So I do like the Discord bots. I do all that shit. I'm not no crypto scammer, but I definitely do the crypto too. I know how to make this stuff from nothing. So I'm an engineer. I have my degree and all this shit. So I know, but I have my experience in the streets with working with corporations. So I know how they think. I know how the businesses think. So, you know, if you need anything from me on that tip, you know what I'm saying? Just let me know. Tap in with me, you know, and I'll got you with all my knowledge.
I'm done.
I'll share it, you know, free game, all the above.
No, I'll go get it in a minute though. Yeah, yep. So I'll be in touch with you. Be in touch with me. You know, I got a lot of people be messaging me, so you got to periodically, so I know you know, be able to keep track.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, I got one
Peace.
more. I got one more. I gotta pull up.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So the book that I mentioned was Soul Retrieval. Somebody asked a question. What's going on, brother?
I'm chilling, family. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good. I'm actually just watching one of your videos right now from Facebook. I had to go back and start from the scratch. You know what I'm saying, bro?
You're going to see the whole process of me going through trying to figure out what the fuck I'm dealing with. I'm having crying and all kind of shit in there.
Hey, to be honest with you, that's the most beautiful part thus far. You know what I'm saying? Is I'm really able to see the transition, you know, not even a transition, the process itself. And that's a beautiful thing, bro. Like, I appreciate your vulnerability, you know what I'm saying? Even the one where you really talking to your auto worker family, you know what I'm saying, about when you was leaving and whatnot. Like, you know, at this point, my whole thing has just been like like I already internally knew, but like you emphasized on, right, which is just like you gonna know who is who and who is not, you know what I'm saying, if you kind of tap into that yourself. And I actually came on, you mentioned it right before. I was just wondering who the book Soul Retrieval was written by, which one you're talking about, because I'm on the website right now. I'm online trying to find a PDF or something like that if I can. It's not a bonnet. It's not a bonnet, queen. I'm just in my blanket.
Yeah, boy, they don't be playing, boy. That's why I can't be soft, because they subject to, you know, hit me with some stuff from time to time.
Nah, most definitely. She said blanket, stop it. Hey, listen here. I got the whole thing over here. Y'all trying to play with me on the live. Yeah.
What's them colors? Red and white, and what else?
Red, white, and this is actually this is an Arkansas. And now that excuse my language, I started really thinking about everything. I'm like, I got my daddy from Arkansas, my mama from Mississippi, so I'm just going through it. I'm not in no rush. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you know the Arkansas Razorbacks is actually a tribe.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they was a warrior tribe from out of the woods of Arkansas. You didn't want to go back there messing with them, and they went back there beating the beehive with a stick.
That part. I'm gonna have to do some more research and tap in. Everybody's saying Shango. I don't know what that means, to be honest with y'all.
Shango, one of the lowers that come in the red and the white.
Okay.
With that sword, you pull that sword out. The Warring Soul, where Dubois tell you that they give you an artificial perception of the self in this system using an educational system. And Garvey, in response, tell you that you the most powerful spiritual being, and up you mighty people do what you will. They can't use they conjure to overcome you if you're aware of what they're doing. Right? So when you know the conjure and you read the Marcus Garvey famous whirlwind speech, look for me in the whirlwind, look for me in the cyclone and the elements of the earth. When you know the conjure, you know what he's saying. But when you don't know the conjure, it's just a badass speech. It's just a cold piece of work. But it's another level when you know the conjure. So I was a independent, self-taught conjure man, studying all of the priests till I became a master, self-raised master. Right? And I acknowledge all my elders that came before me that gave me the pieces to the puzzle. Right? And I come to them in honor and distinction because I don't take sides with my mother line or my father line. They both better bump fucking straight. Right? Because my mama taught me honor thy mother and thy father, that their days may be long on the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I use that as a value tool for family. This is how we get to understand how to internalize the overall value of family.
Mm-hmm.
By honoring your parents, it gives you favor with your ancestors, and they help you to clean up generational curses that's in your
Mm-hmm.
DNA.
Mm-hmm. So we got okay. It's good you started with Garvey. Okay, you started with Garvey, and then specifically, like what is the link between going from like Noble Drew Ali, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and even in now, with somebody like Dr. York? Is there a connection between all of those individuals, or is it?
Okay, so this is what we know.
Mm-hmm.
We know that at one time Elijah Muhammad was a member of the Moorish Science Temple,
Mm-hmm.
and his name was Robert Poole Bey.
Okay.
We know that he then left there and joined up with the Ahmadiyya sect of Muslims and began to learn Islam before he encountered Master Muhammad
Mm-hmm.
in the 1929 year after the Noble Drew Ali died, when he
Mm-hmm.
separated.
Yeah.
We know this in his FBI file. He changed his name to Robert Gulam.
Mm-hmm.
And Robert Gulam was a name of the Ahmadiyya leader,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then he changed his name when he was the secretary in Chicago. He worked in the offices of Marcus Garvey. And at this time, he was learning from Fard Muhammad, because
Mm-hmm.
this is like 1930. So while he's being a member of Garvey's team as a secretary, he's changed his name now, according to the FBI files, to Robert Black,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So now Elijah Muhammad has a direct link to Garvey
Mm-hmm.
and a direct link to Noble Drew Ali.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now fast forward. Yahweh ben Yahweh, Hulan
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell, Hulan
Mm-hmm.
X. Elijah Muhammad sent him to cover the doctrine of the Hebrew Israelite. Puddin, Father God Allah, Clarence, 13X.
Mm-hmm.
He told Elijah that he had to go get the young children that couldn't tolerate the strict discipline of the FOI in the Nation of Islam,
Mm-hmm.
and he had to organize the ones that's going to be smoking weed on the corner, hustling
Mm-hmm.
the block. They had to be organized as well as a tribe unto themselves, because they behave the same.
Yeah.
So he used the 120 as the teaching tool in order to give them their piece to the puzzle, in order to talk across the land and tell us what's going on the land.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So now when we see the symbols, we know what's going on. So we see an artist like King Sun as a West Coast 5%. Right? So and then he had an affiliation with the Bloods. So
Mm-hmm.
now we're seeing connections. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Who else was under Elijah Muhammad? Siraj Wahaj was a
Mm-hmm.
former member of the Nation of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So all of the different fields of knowledge. Malachi Yorks would say he was never a member of the Nation of Islam because he attended Sheikh Dawood's temple
Mm-hmm.
or masjid,
Indeed.
right? But he also encountered and learned from fruits in exchange and study groups,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this
Mm-hmm.
was part of the come up.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting to see what the Nation of Islam is like while he's also studying Islam under Sheikh Dawood,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he gets to see the difference. Now he in New York in the thick of everything that's going on,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he got the Hebrew Israelites around him. He got the Moors around him.
Mm-hmm.
He got the Nation of Islam around him. He got the Black Mafia around him. He got these young gangs all over the city, all around him, and they all absorbing the information.
Mm.
So they all come from different walks of life, and they all meet up in something called a hip hop generation.
Mm. Bam.
So you got 50-year-old white-haired, wrinkle-faced, pale-skinned politicians bumping Tupac and Biggie to this day.
Mm-hmm.
The guys like what's my man from they got kicked off the news for being an asshole.
Which
Anyway,
one? Oh.
he was a prominent newscaster, had his own show and shit. I think he was on MSNBC.
Shit, I don't know.
But he's a dirtbag. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
they begin to they be listening to Tupac and Biggie now.
Oh yeah.
You know, they are Snoop Dogg is in Hillary Clinton's playlist. You seeing the hip hop generation is getting the influence, even though they fighting against it. They even influenced by it.
Yeah,
it's unmistakable and undeniable. This music is the force and power of the warrior souls of the youth.
Indeed.
Right. So we bumping the 808 because it's the war drum.
And then, just like you talking about, as far as the infiltrators come in, they come back in the 90s and they flip it all into gangster rap when it was all positive.
Right. Matter of fact, they had a whole meeting in 91 to subvert conscious rap and to bring gangster rap to the forefront.
Yep. Professor Griff did a whole he nailed that with that book he did, you know, in lectures, man. He went in on it. But yeah, you know, like you said earlier, who's it against you? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go another route now. You know what I'm saying? Growing up, you know, in information, you know, I always used to hear the black woman is God, right? And, you know, I'm like, cool, my mom God, you know what I'm saying? My mate, my mom black, she, you know, she birthed me, you know what I'm saying? And so on and so on. I see all these great things, right? You know what I'm saying? Now, fast forward to the time I got introduced to the Mama Zogbe and the Sybil, right? So I'm sitting there reading this book, and I'm like, I had no clue what these sisters, how powerful and what they were doing, you know, back then. So here's a question. You can, you know, roll with it, how you feel. But could you paint a picture of our original culture as being matriarch, you know, it going through a time frame and then the flip happening, okay? And we're losing and going to patriarch, and now the